MBTA is probably the most popular public transportation service in Boston, but believe it or not, there was a time when these trains were never going to see the light of day. Back in the 1700s, the only mode of transportation was horse-drawn carriages or wooden ships. Then a century later, the railway started spreading around the United States, and Boston was no exception. During that time, the most notable railway lines in Brookline, the D Line, was built. But at that time, the D Line was called the Highland Branch. During the 19th century, the Cambridge Railroad introduced streetcars into Boston, and the first railway to use these streetcars was the C Line at Cleveland Circle. Soon more railways were made for these streetcars, and eventually one of the railways became the Red Line. Soon, streetcars were the most popular mode of transportation in Boston. As time went on, more railway lines were made for these streetcars, including the Orange Line and the Blue Line. Meanwhile, the Boston Elevated Railway was creating grade light separate railways to prevent delays with road vehicles. This eventually led to America's first subway, and its first station was Park Street Station. Soon the streetcars were getting more expensive, and the companies were charging too much to ride the trains. Then along came automobiles, and eventually the railway was shut down, and buses took over the train's work. And it seems like the trains were not going to be back on the rails again. Then, in 1970, the railway was bought by the MTA, and it was given assistance by the Boston Transportation Review to restore the trains. Commuter trains were added to the railway to take passengers further along Boston, and now the MTA has become the railway that we know of today. The MTA service is very reliable, widespread, and has excellent subway stations that connect to other train services without paying extra fees. Though I do warn you, the trains can come whenever they can, so expect the wait, and it might be crowded sometimes, depending on the time.